Okay, let's get into this deep dive. Today we're looking at a case that's, well, it's really stuck with people for, over 2 decades now. The unsolved disappearance of Maura Murray.
It really has, and we've got the shared sources here, articles, notes to try and unpack this one.
Exactly. And the core mystery, it's laid out pretty clearly in the material. You have a 21-year-old woman. She crashes her car on this remote road up in New Hampshire back in 2004.
Right, and then poof, she just vanishes. Within minutes, no trace left behind. It's baffling.
So our mission here, using these sources, is really to understand the events leading up to her disappearance, and then the, frankly, puzzling facts they found at the scene itself.
And what strikes you first, reading through this, is Maura herself. She
Right.
wasn't, someone you'd necessarily predict would just disappear like this.
No, not at all. The sources paint a picture of someone bright, athletic. She was a nursing student at UMass Amherst.
And she'd even been a cadet at one point before that. Suggests discipline,
Right. Which makes the whole thing even more perplexing, like you said.
Definitely. And the sources, they really focus on the days right before she vanished. Something significant seems to have happened.
Yeah, like on February 5th, just 4 days earlier. She was working her campus security job.
And her supervisor, according to these accounts, found her really distraught, just like crying intensely.
The supervisor actually called it an emotional breakdown in the reports we looked at.
And then that same night, there's this mysterious phone call she received. The sources stress this point.
That even after all this time, nobody knows who called or what was said. Still a blank.
Exactly. So you have that kind of unsettled backdrop. Then we jump to Monday, February 9th, the day she disappeared.
And the sources say she spent the morning packing her things. Dorm room stuff.
Yeah, and here's a really key detail everyone points to. She emails her professors, her work supervisor.
Claiming a death in the family, right? Said she needed to be gone for about a week.
But there was no death in the family. The sources are very clear on that. She made it up.
So, she fabricates this reason, packs her car, takes out some cash.
And just drives north, alone, towards the White Mountains in New Hampshire.
That drive comes to a sudden stop around 7.27 that evening.
That's right. Her car, a black Saturn, goes off Route 112 in Haverhill, crashes into a snowbank.
And what happens next, according to the sources, is just crucial. A local bus driver lives nearby. He stops, offers her help.
But Maura turns him down,
Yeah.
specifically tells him, and this is important, she'd already called AAA.
Which she hadn't. The sources confirm no call to AAA was ever made.
No. And this is where that timeline gets just unbelievably tight. Police are dispatched, they get to the scene.
Just 7 minutes later. 7 minutes from when another driver called it in.
And in that tiny window, she's gone.
Vanished. The police arrive, find the car locked.
Locked. And inside, her stuff is still there. Cell phone, credit cards, ATM card. Things you'd probably take, right? Even if you were just walking off for a bit.
You think so? There was also wine, apparently. Some empty bottles, some fulls.
Yeah. And one of the really persistent details, something investigators keep coming back to in these reports.
The lack of any sign of a struggle.
Exactly. No struggle. And maybe the most baffling part, initially, police reported no footprints in the snow leading away from the car.
How does someone just disappear from a roadside like that? In the snow, leaving no tracks. It doesn't make sense.
It really doesn't. And then there's that other weird detail. The sources discuss the rag found stuffed in the tailpipe.
Right. What was that about? Was she trying to disable the car? Was it like a signal?
Yeah.
Or just something random?
And nobody knows. The sources offer theories, maybe staging something, maybe a clue, maybe nothing, but it's still just a question mark.
And this complete lack of answers, coupled with all these strange facts, it's fueled, 2 decades of speculation now.
Oh, absolutely. The sources touch on all the major theories. Did she stage her own disappearance? Run away to start a new life?
Or was she abducted? Maybe by someone who just happened to be driving by. Or even, the sources mentioned speculation about connections to, other unsolved cases, maybe even a serial killer.
Those theories are out there, yeah. And the search efforts, especially driven by her family, they've been ongoing. Huge ground searches over the years.
Didn't they do a search more recently with radar?
They did in 2021, yeah. Ground penetrating radar near the crash site. They found some soil disturbance, I think.
And did anything come of it?
Unfortunately, no. The sources covering that dig say they didn't find anything conclusive related to Maura.
So it just brings us right back to square one, really. It echoes through all the material we looked at.
Yeah. After more than 20 years, still no solid physical evidence of what happened. Not one confirmed sighting since she spoke to that bus driver.
It's just a sudden vanishing.
Yeah.
Someone there 1 minute, gone the next. No explanation, no trace.
It really makes you think, doesn't it? What could possibly have happened in those few minutes on Route 112? What drives someone to disappear, or what external thing could make them disappear so completely?
And I think the final thought the sources leave you mulling over is pretty powerful, kind of chilling, actually. That someone, somewhere, probably knows what really happened to Maura Murray that night.
That seems likely. And if you listening have any information, anything at all, the sources include the contact, the New Hampshire cold case unit.
Definitely reach out. This case. Well, this deep dive shows just how complex and sadly unresolved